In the latest developments regarding the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas, the chief of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, has stated that the Palestinian militant group is close to reaching a truce agreement with Israel. Despite the continued assault on Gaza and the firing of rockets into Israel, Hamas officials have delivered their response to Qatari mediators. The negotiations are focused on the duration of the truce, the delivery of aid into Gaza, and the exchange of Israeli hostages held by Hamas for Palestinian prisoners in Israel. Both sides have agreed to free women and children, and further details will be announced by Qatar, which is mediating the negotiations. The International Committee of the Red Cross has also been involved in advancing humanitarian issues related to the conflict. The ICRC's president, Mirjana Spoljaric, met with Ismail Haniyeh in Qatar to discuss these matters. However, the ICRC clarified that it is not directly involved in the negotiations for the release of hostages but is ready to facilitate any future release agreed upon by the parties. Talks of a potential hostage deal have been circulating for several days. Last week, Reuters reported that Qatari mediators were seeking a deal for Hamas and Israel to exchange 50 hostages in return for a 3-day ceasefire, which would allow for increased emergency aid shipments to Gaza civilians. Israeli ambassador to the United States, Michael Herzog, expressed hope for an agreement in the coming days, while Qatar's Prime Minister, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani, stated that the remaining sticking points were minor. U.S. President Joe Biden and other U.S. officials have also indicated that a deal is near. However, it is important to note that sensitive negotiations like these can fall apart at the last minute, as stated by White House Deputy National Security Advisor John Feiner. The conflict between Israel and Hamas escalated after Hamas launched a raid on October 7, resulting in the deadliest day in Israel's history. In response, Israel invaded the Palestinian territory to target Hamas. Since then, Gaza's Hamas-run government has reported a significant number of Palestinian casualties, including many children and women, due to relentless Israeli bombardment. The situation remains tense, with Hamas claiming to have launched a barrage of missiles towards Tel Aviv, and witnesses reporting rockets being fired at central Israel. Reports have also emerged of Israeli bombing in the Nuseirat camp in central Gaza, resulting in the deaths of at least 17 Palestinians. Additionally, Gaza's health ministry has reported that Israeli firing into the Indonesian hospital complex has killed at least 12 Palestinians and injured dozens. The hospital, funded by Indonesian organizations, denies the presence of armed militants on its premises. The World Health Organization has condemned the attack on the hospital, with its chief, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, expressing his shock and citing reports of 12 deaths, including patients. The Israeli Defense Forces claim that they fired back at fighters in the hospital while taking measures to minimize harm to non-combatants. As a result of the ongoing conflict, the Indonesian hospital, along with other health facilities in the northern half of Gaza, has largely ceased operations but continues to provide shelter for patients, staff, and displaced residents. In a separate development, 28 prematurely born babies from Gaza's largest hospital, Al-Shifa, were evacuated to Egypt for urgent treatment. Israeli forces had previously seized Al-Shifa to search for a tunnel network allegedly built by Hamas beneath the hospital. The situation remains fluid, and while there are indications of progress towards a truce agreement, it is important to exercise caution as negotiations can be fragile. The conflict has resulted in significant loss of life and damage to infrastructure, particularly in Gaza, and the international community continues to monitor the situation closely.